We call to order the Ironton City Council meeting of February 8th, 2024. With us this evening for our invocation is Reverend Steve Harvey, not to be confused with comedian Steve Harvey, with Sharon Baptist Church. And if you would stand and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance to follow. Rev.
Thank you, son. Let's pray together. God, we thank you for a glorious winter day here in the River Cities. And we're proud to be from Ironton. We're proud to live on this river. And I pray for the leadership in this council meeting right now, Lord God. You give them insight and wisdom, help them along in every aspect of their life. Forgive us where we fail you, make us all better people. Philosophy in life says that we're either part of the problem or part of the solution. I pray that all of us in this room are part of the solution to always help Ironton, encourage one another, and be there for each other. Thank you, God, for who you are in our life, be with our mayor and his leadership as well. All the city workers, people that make all this possible and make it go every single day. Again, watch over us and keep us in your care. Thank you for the opportunity to pray this meeting tonight. For the privilege of knowing you as our Lord and Savior. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thanks, Rick. You're welcome. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Brown.
Here.
Cleary.
Here.
Haney.
Here.
Harvey.
Here.
Hawk.
Here.
Klein.
Here.
Perry.
Mr. Perry had a family issue. He texted me a little while ago. He will not be here this evening. Next is the approval of minutes, and we have in our agenda packets the regular council meeting minutes of January 25th, 2024, the Finance Committee meeting minutes of January 25th, 2024, and the Budget Workshop meeting minutes of January 31st, 2024. Are there any errors, omissions, additions to those meeting minutes? Hearing none, those meeting minutes will stand as approved. Next, we have audience participation. If you would like to address the City Council, please step to the podium, state your name and address, and you will have 5 minutes. But prior to that, I would like to introduce special guests with us this evening. We have Scout Troop 106 that are working on their communication badge. So good luck to them getting a communication badge listening to us hillbillies talk. But if you guys would like to stand to be recognized, we'd like to acknowledge your presence here this evening. Even if you don't want to stand, stand. Thank you for being with us this evening. If you would like to address the Ironton City Council, please step to the podium, name and address. You look familiar.
Hello. Good evening, Amanda Cleary, 1742 North 2nd Street. I'm here this evening for the nonprofit organization Third and Center. Third and Center is dedicated to collaborative community building, and our mission is to serve as a conduit for community building by facilitating conversation, connection, and collaboration amongst those who desire to positively impact our community. Our grassroots organization was formed in 2019 with the goal of utilizing arts to revitalize and unite our community. And our organization's name represents the concept of third spaces, which are places where people spend their time between home and work, fostering idea exchange, relationship building, and community strengthening. Third and Center is dedicated to creating these spaces throughout its programming and projects and hopes to encourage others to do the same. Our organization is focused on transforming communities by promoting artistic, cultural, and small business development. By investing in the arts and supporting young people, Third and Center aims to create a thriving and stable community and stimulate future economic growth in Ironton, Lawrence County, and the Appalachian River region. I would like to take a moment to highlight our 2023 impact in our community. We engaged youth from all Ironton schools for projects in the community, hosted 5 large-scale community events totaling 1,500 participants, took over operations of the Ironton Senior Center, engaged 200 volunteers in service projects, facilitated the installation of 2 new riverfront murals, received $35,000 in grant funding for the betterment of our community, and as of January 1st have created 2 part-time positions for residents of Ironton. Our 2024 impact goals include community beautification, the restoration of the historic Nanny Kelly Wright and John Campbell murals on the Ironton riverfront. We plan to expand our mural project throughout the city and do a project for storm drain awareness for the city's MS4 program. We will also be in the 4th year of our crosswalk installation that takes place at the downtown intersection of Center and 3rd Street, helping to improve safety and walkability of our downtown. An Art for All project, which is a community event in celebration of Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month, in partnership with the Lawrence County Open Door School and other organizations to encourage art, creation, inclusion, and accessibility. We have an arts education program called Inspire that aims to improve access to arts education opportunities in our community. This program partners with local schools for artist-led classes, and our hope is to expand this program in 2024 to include services for seniors and veterans. In conjunction with operating the Ironton Senior Center, we plan to create a collaborative kitchen, which will be a space for culinary entrepreneurs to expand their businesses and to create opportunities for educating our community on the benefits of healthy living. We have an outdoor recreation program, which is an educational series designed to engage youth and all community members in outdoor recreation activities such as fishing and kayaking. This year we will host our 2nd annual Trash Bash Community Cleanup for Earth Day, which will focus on our parks, riverfront, and green spaces in Ironton and invite volunteers and participants for a picnic lunch on the riverfront. We will host the 3rd annual Summer Solstice Music and Arts Festival, which is a day-long celebration of all things local. This event includes a talent show, live music, local artists and artisan vendors, and food and fun. And over 850 people attended this event last year. We will host our 4th annual Ironton River Run, which is encouraging to our community to come together for an evening of healthy activity. And the run showcases the beauty of the Ironton riverfront and highlights the growing artistic elements that 3rd and Center has added to the community. We will continue our Project 100, which provides free financial guidance and support for local small businesses. We have taken over operations of the Ironton Senior Center, which is a new opportunity for our organization. We began oversight of the programming and meal service in November of 2023 and have seen a 30% increase in participation from our seniors in our community. Our goal is to provide comprehensive services and engaging programming to foster a sense of community amongst our seniors. And in 2024, we will continue our fundraising efforts to establish an accessible and inclusive park and green space for the Ironton community. So we offer what is called a community partnership opportunity, which is one contribution at the beginning of the year to support all of our programming for the entire year. And I brought enough copies for everyone. If anyone would like more information about our organization, you can follow us on social media. We are on Facebook and Instagram at 3rd and Center. And our website is www.thirdandcenter.com. Anyone have any questions?
You ended right at 5 minutes, Amanda. Even though I couldn't get my clock going. That's all I think.
I tried.
That's lots of good things, so thank you for all that you're involved in, and in the past helping with things that the city recreation's done, like our pickleball tournament. So we appreciate your organization and the passion you guys put back into Ironton. So.
Thank you. We're always happy to help with anything that moves our community forward. So.
Anyone else?
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll start your time now, Rich.
Okay.
And
Hi there, my name is Rich Donahue, 103 South 3rd Street, and I'm here to just kind of share some information with you. I'll pass this out. There you go. I have one of those. Sorry. Back in December, the Christian Judge Finley spoke to me at the Wreaths Across America. So she has a project for us, and she would get back with me. Shortly there later, she contacted me about a program that the state has and also the United States. It's the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. It's the program called America 250. Ohio calls theirs America 250 Ohio. And so Ohio started in about 2 years ago, putting together an organization, and they're still working on that, and we plan to go to a meeting in March, I believe, to follow up on this a little more. But there's a letter in here that Judge Finley sent me. The judicial system asked her to try to locate somebody to head this. So what's going to happen is this organization, they want each county to participate in the state program, and I believe the LEDC and the CAO attended, along with the commissioners, went to a meeting at the end of December also to bring Lawrence County on board with the state. So this is our first meeting with anybody in the city or the county. So they want past, present, and future. Past being anything leading up to 1803, when it became a state, when Indians lived here, whatever happened during that time up till Ohio became a statehood. Then they would like to, and even till just a few years ago, but then the present and the future. What is the current present situation in Ironton, Lawrence County, Chesapeake, wherever it may be, and what is the future? And they want a program put together. There's also they want to have events every month in the community that kind of align with the state. They have not sent out guidelines what they want to do in January, February, or March, or whatever it may be. But one thing we feel that come Memorial Day, the city will represent itself quite well, hopefully with the Memorial Day parade that year. We've organized the individuals that, I spoke to my wife and Brent Piles and Lou, and I've got their role that they're going to play. We've already started reaching out to historians in the county. We want to get the schools involved. We want to try to not overload historians from one particular part of the county, but spread that across, try to find somebody from each township, each city, and kind of work with them and work with the local schools to put this program together. We've met with the county superintendent, and he was excited about it when we spoke to him last month. So that's a project that you can go look at online at America 250 Ohio and kind of read a little bit more of what's going on. But this is a couple years away, and but it'll be here before we know it. I spoke to Mac Anderson a couple weeks ago about talking to him because of some of the judicial side of things and and the history of it. So we'll talk to some other people, and I just want to let you know what we were working on. Okay. Any questions?
Yeah, Rich. So the time you said something each month, starting January 26th through December 26th.
Correct. They would like to have an event every month in the county, and it's kind of tough. They may say that something dealing with the 4th of July. Okay, then. And then, we'll have some type of event here, but, may not be in the city. Okay, it might be somewhere else in the county, or it could be in the city. July is also the month of the county fair, which is in Proctorville. They may say, well, we're going to do something in February was Black History Month, and that's the focus, and then focus that event towards, what they, kind of pull the whole state together so that we're all doing something very similar. As I haven't been to a meeting yet, but hope to at the end of the month go up to the first meeting. I think it's in Lima. I believe that's where it's at. So,
Have you talked to Joe Unger? He geeks out on Ironton history and probably would be a great person. And I also was going to see if Bob was around in 1803. He might
Feel like it.
might be a good one for past, present, future as well. He's on the historic. You're on the historical society, right?
No,
No.
used to be.
Okay.
but that's what I mean. We're just trying to, I've got a short list, and we're just trying to put a list together. I'll jot Joe's name down, but we work with him with the Lambert Museum downstairs. So it could be exciting. I'm looking forward to it, and we just need to draw attention to what's going on in this part of the state and what it's contributed to Ohio over the past few years. And I know that the CAO, it's my understanding, the CAO and LADC is working on a project with the Underground Railroad. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Like 21 sites, is that correct? Roughly, something like around 21 sites that is going to tie all back into, that they're working on that, and for tourism in this part of the country. So, along the Ohio River, spreads over into West Virginia, Kentucky, and I don't know how north it goes past Gallipolis, but I think it goes down to Adams County. So I know they're working on that, and that was part of their project with this America 250.
Once you go to the meeting, Rich, I'm sure anybody in here, but I'll speak on behalf of myself for the council. We'll be happy to help in any way we can, whether it's through representation, whether it's through donations, whether it's through interviews, setting up things, whatever we need to do, we'd be happy to be a part of moving that project forward. Chris?
What Craig said, but also you said it's a monthly
They want
thing.
They want an event in the county every month.
So are they going to give you the guidelines of what, is it going to be statewide that everybody's going to go with the same theme and we just do our interpretation of that?
I think that's what their focus is, as I said, February is and I can't speak for them right now because, it's just been a couple phone calls and, we're not, they really haven't put out a bunch of stuff, but other than just the conversation. But I think that they would like, we're not limited to only 12, okay? But, if we could get 12 or 13, I think, in the county, spread around and so forth, I think that would be a pretty good event.
And you'll be presenting each time you guys get updates, or once it gets closer, you're going to go to the state meetings and then come
As soon as we find out more information, this was the first stop. We want to go to Gold Grove and their council meetings and Hanging Rock, and then South Point, Chesapeake, and Proctorville, and then continue reaching out to the township trustees and so forth, because as I say, we want to find individuals that live in Windsor. We want to find people that live in Hanging Rock or Decatur. Nobody thinks about this, but Washington Township is an Oak Hill school district. So we want to make sure that we include everybody as best we can into this, so that you come Memorial Day, you see people from all over this county. It's not just the residents here; they're all here. They're celebrating the service, our servicemen and women. So it's just an inclusive thing that we get everybody excited. And I think it could be a great 12-month period. And we've got the big thing we're looking at is past, present, future. And if you break that down into 3 months or 6 months, excuse me, You have 18 months there just to put 3 programs here. But that almost meets the, we're only 24 months away from this thing, or 23 now. So it's got to be planned, it's got to be organized, and we've got some ideas, but we'll just see what the state has to say on their side. Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
Thanks, Rich.
All right, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Rick Jansen with Lawrence Scioto Solid Waste Management District. The first handout you're receiving is regarding microplastics. Microplastics are in our everyday life. They are around us. They're not going away. They're non-biodegradable. They don't break down. After the sun hits them, they eventually break into more and more pieces of plastic and ends up in our food system, in our waterways, animals, soils, humans all around the world end up with microplastics in their bodies. The issues become in terms of autism, Alzheimer's, cancers, reproduction issues, weight issues. The studies are coming out more and more daily. And according to the University of Newcastle in Australia, an average person consumes enough microplastics every week to produce a credit card. This is what you're consuming and not realizing. Every week you're eating enough microplastics for one credit card. It's a massive, massive problem. Since plastics started becoming more and more available, about 7% of all plastics throughout the world have ever been repurposed. So we're trying to work on things that will reduce the amount of plastics getting into our system. When you go to the gas station and convenience store and they hand out these flimsy little plastic bags that get blown all over the place, the sun gets to them, they become brittle, they fall into millions of pieces. We end up consuming them. An average human being walks around with about 5 pounds of microplastics in their body. It's in your heart muscles, it's in your brain, it's in your kidneys, it's all over your body. Health hazards are just massive with this. So what I'm getting to is yard signs is another item that creates a lot of microplastics that is unnecessary. The second handout I'm going to be passing out is legislation from 1973 restricting signage all over the place. It originally was set up for people putting signs up on utility poles. Utility workers that used to have to climb up and down these things would often hit nails and screws. These guys climbing would slip, rip up the inside of their legs. You can imagine what that must feel like, falling 30 feet and having screws and nails ripping the inside of your legs apart. Falling to the ground, breaking ankles, breaking backs, becoming paralyzed. There's a reason why in 1973 they stopped this, put legislation in place and penalties for advertising in a public right of way. It has totally gotten out of control. So as a solid waste district, we're sending out a number of letters to companies that put out signs and have no intention of ever picking them up. Municipalities that have to mow around this stuff, the state, a lot of these guys just chop them up with their big mowers and you end up with all this stuff in the waterways. So we're sending out a series of letters asking people to cooperate and not do this anymore. They continue to do it. They'll get a second letter, give them another 60 days to pick it up. After 120 days they haven't picked it up, they'll get the third letter saying we're going to start enforcement. We spoke with both Lawrence and Scioto counties, the prosecuting attorneys. They are 100% in support of it. So that opens up another issue, and the issue is these courtesy benches that are all over the place in Lawrence and Scioto County. They are technically illegal. They are in the public right of way. I don't know how it started, but they block a lot of ADA issues. A lot of people have mobility issues, can't get up and down the curbs, can't maneuver around town because these things are in the way, and it's in violation. So we're going to enforce one part of the ordinance. We have to enforce all of it. So I'm just kind of wanting to see where the city council stands on this. Portsmouth wants to reach out to you all. They have the same issue. They would like some collaboration between the cities.
Are you speaking specifically about the issue of the benches? Is that
benches? Yes, absolutely.
We've had some public discussion about that. There was it's a family-owned business that creates the benches that had originally come to Ironton way back when, and the city of Ironton had allowed this family to put X amount of benches in and advertise on those benches. That person that originally did that passed away, and his son came to Ironton, and I think he's from Jackson, maybe.
That's Wheelersburg.
Wheelersburg. And so we had some discussions about moving them out of the tree lawns and off the sidewalks and onto, like, down at the Gateway Center. It was actually out on the sidewalk, and so we've done some moving of those things out of the right of ways, and we knew that it was an issue at that point, but we're under the impression that he was going to work with the city or with Sam to make sure those things were on private property or moved off of the streets back out of the way. At the courthouse, for instance, there's a cutout that was intended for those benches, and so I hear what you're saying. We've addressed it. I think being mindful of the history of those benches, and I think that context is important.
It's still, the letter of the law says it's advertising in a public right of way. 1973 is when that law was put into effect. We can't pick and choose what we're gonna prosecute or not.
I hear you, but I think the context matters. And so if you're saying, then we got to hold our feet to the fire. I think everybody in here that night, their intention was to work with that family business on their advertising to make sure that they weren't impeding sidewalks and right of ways. And so, I mean, if you say letter of the law, then my suggestion would be to change our ordinance, and you probably wouldn't like that.
I'm not sure that, I just want this for discussion. I'm going to tell you what I've heard from landowners. A lot of landowners that have these benches put on there, they think the city of Portsmouth and the city of Ironton is the one actually putting these benches on.
It's not the case.
Well, it's in their opinion, their mind, that's what's happening.
Yeah.
The city is doing it.
Their opinion doesn't count.
Well, they're the landowners, and it does count.
It's not the city. It's a guy from Wheelersburg. I don't know his name. Do you?
No, I mean, until you brought it up the other day, it's like we had that I don't remember where that discussion went after he came that night. I know that we had the problem with the Gateway, and that was actually the business owner advertising in front of their place, but it was in the ADA ramp, like if we had to have it moved.
I got Nate, Robbie, Nate.
Well, I guess I was going to follow up and ask where we're on that, because I was under the impression that gentleman was going to work to move those, but like, for example, the one in Dollar General, because he conceded that some of them were unsightly, didn't serve a purpose, needed improvements, and for example, one that sits on Dollar General's tree lawn is still there. So I don't know. Obviously, did he reach out to you as far as being?
He wasn't working with me. Joe was the one that was working with him. He's the one that brought it to our attention the first time he was out citing those.
Yeah.
So I have to follow up with Joe.
So, I mean, I agree that there is some value to it, but I'd really like to see that person, I know they're not here to speak for themselves, participate in making sure it is on private property, and those property owners are aware of that also, that it's not city owned.
Sure.
I think that would, and I 100% agree as far as the signs on the poles and so forth. I'm not a big fan of those either. I mean, see it coming off the bridge and right on the poles right there, people are stapling stuff up. And that's our interest to our city. That's the first impression they get, and I'm not a huge fan of that myself. So.
Aesthetically, it's one thing. The true health cost of increased cancers, increased all these other health issues because of plastics are really what the big picture is.
And it's a free-for-all and unsightly. Robbie?
I was just going to ask, one, when that conversation was had with this person, is that from a recent conversation, or?
It's been fairly recent.
Yeah, it's in the last year.
It was in the last year. Okay. And I would echo what Nate Klein said. I think we probably need to revisit that, because I know for a fact that there are multiple that are still on sidewalks or in public right-of-ways. It's been something that I've noticed really in the last 2 weeks, that there's been a new one put out in a sidewalk area. So I do think it's something we need to address.
Portsmouth had removed a bunch of these from their town, and they would like to have some consideration discussions with you all about how this might look going forward. There's some ordinances, perhaps the city could get some revenue out of it. They buy a permit for each one of these to place them. They're selling the advertising on it. Let's face it, it's a public business. It's using community assets. As long as it's out of the right of way, there's not much we really can do about it. But of that, most of them are in public right of ways. The vast majority are.
I think we gave the gentleman a lot of lenience in, I guess, putting faith in him to move them. And like Nate said, I still see the one at Dollar General. If the ones that are in the right of way, I say, we gave him one chance. He didn't do anything about it. I say if Joe sees them and Joe's out, and go ahead and cite him. I mean, because that was the issue. He was going to get cited. We said, listen, move them onto the private property. He didn't do that. If they're still out there.
Sam, can you have Joe reach out to him, get us an update? And yes, Jacob.
I can't speak to the benches, but as far as the signs are concerned, back in December, I saw there was one day I drove through town and there was like a Suboxone clinic that had put up like tons of signs all over.
From Columbus all the way down here.
Yeah.
Thousands of them, yes.
And I called Joe and he went out and picked them up. So I would assume the process is pretty straightforward. I don't know if there's something on the
we've been
website.
picking up the political signs already too.
Yeah.
Thrown in the right
But
way.
he picked
Political
up
signs
60.
and real estate signs have a little cutout niche on that. 10 days at the end of a close of a property and 10 days after the end of an election, those need to be removed. If not, they're in violation. The issue is,
Well, in our ordinance, they're not allowed to be in the tree lawns and then I called ODOT and got their go-ahead to rip them out of their right-of-ways too. Because we just didn't want it by the bridge. The other ones that they post up on like the yard sale signs or whatever, it's just a matter of catching it and getting it down. Because they're not supposed to be on the poles at all.
I don't know what's fair or not fair, but a lot of these signs get put up by businesses that have zero intention of ever picking them up. They are going to leave them up there as long as they can and just put another one over the top once they fail from the sun. So,
I would just recommend letting the mayor know and having them removed, because he went right out and picked up all those signs the next day.
okay. I don't know that I need to let the mayor know, and he needs to, anybody that drives up and down. The issue is sending these letters out to people telling them you got so many days to take them down yourself. We take them down, nothing's said to them, they repeat the process over and over again. They get $4 or $5 on one of those signs. They go out and put a few hundred of them up, we're right back to where we were.
Usually when we take them down, we call them and let them know they can pick them up or we're going to trash them. That's what our process is.
So we have met with both prosecuting attorneys from both counties, and our policy committee wanted to send out 2 different letters. One, hey, did you know these microplastics you're putting all over the place are really harmful to people? Please take them down. The second one's a little stronger, saying, we noticed your signs are still up. It's in violation of ORC Code 5589.
Chris?
Are you guys want?
Yes, we're on board.
Okay.
No problem, like we're on our side.
All right.
So Rick, I think the 2 issues you have, the first one about signs and things in the right of way and on public land, you're handling that enforcement. So I don't think there's anything on our end that we need to do. The other issue with the benches, we're aware of it. We'll get an update from Joe, and we'll come up with a solution for that.
The opportunities discussed with everybody so they understand why we're doing what we're doing, why we're forced to do what we're doing is really the takeaway from tonight. I'm not upset with anybody. I just know it's gotten so far out of hand. Back in the 70s, they didn't have these cheap plastic signs. They had the vermicelli signs and all these other signs that they used to put up all over the place. Now it's so cheap to do this. And take a look through the county and see how many you're going to see. It's very unsightly. The health issues, everything else involved, but I want to take thank you for your time. And then if possible, we'd like to talk in executive session on real estate too for solid waste.
Okay. What? Real estate.
Real estate.
Any others? Moving on to communications, there are none. Reports, there are none. If the clerk could please give ordinance 2404 first reading by title only.
Amending the temporary budget for the city of Ironton, state of Ohio for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2024, and declaring emergency first reading.
Bob.
Yeah, I'd like to first start by saying that it was favorably recommended by the Finance Committee, and I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules and give 2404 second, third reading by title only.
Jacob.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call.
Brown.
Aye.
Cleary.
Aye.
Hany.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Hawk.
Aye.
Klein.
Aye.
Ordinance 2404, the rules have been suspended. If the clerk could please give ordinance 2404 second and third reading by title only.
Amending the temporary budget for the city of Ironton, state of Ohio for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2024, and declaring an emergency. Second reading. Amending the temporary budget for the city of Ironton, state of Ohio for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2024, and declaring an emergency. Third reading.
Bob.
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt ordinance 2404.
Haney.
Second.
Roll call.
Brown.
Aye.
Cleary.
Aye.
Hany.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Hawk.
Aye.
Klein.
Aye.
Ordinance 2404 is adopted. If the clerk would please give ordinance 2405 first reading by title only.
Authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Key of Ohio, Inc. for hauling and disposal of sludge, grit screenings, and sweepings for the city of Ironton wastewater treatment plant and declaring an emergency. First reading.
Bob.
Finance Committee give this a favorable recommendation, and I'd like to make a motion we suspend the rules on 2405, give it second and third reading by title only.
Jacob.
I'll second that.
Roll call.
Brown.
Aye.
Cleary.
Aye.
Hany.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Hawk.
Aye.
Klein.
Aye.
Rules have been suspended to give ordinance 2405 second and third reading. If the clerk could please give ordinance 2405 second and third reading by title only.
Authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Key of Ohio, Inc. for hauling and disposal of sludge, grit screenings, and sweepings for the city of Ironton wastewater treatment plant and declaring an emergency. Second reading. Authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Key of Ohio, Inc. for hauling and disposal of sludge, grit screenings, and sweepings for the city of Ironton wastewater treatment plant and declaring an emergency. Third reading.
Bob.
Make a motion that we adopt ordinance 2405.
Chris.
Second.
Roll call.
Brown.
Aye.
Cleary.
Aye.
Hany.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Hawk.
Aye.
Klein.
Aye.
Ordinance 2405 is adopted. Haney,
I move to remove ordinance 2382 from the table and give it third reading by title only with possible adoption.
you have that. Hawk,
I'll second that motion.
we have a motion to remove ordinance 2382 from the table, give third reading with possible adoption. Roll call, please.
Brown.
Aye.
Cleary.
Aye.
Hany.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Hawk.
Aye.
Klein.
Aye.
That's been through the process of public hearing this evening with one comment that'll be in our next meeting packet. Really wasn't about the ordinance. More questions just about how to go into business for himself. And we also had a planning commission meeting that gave this favorable recommendation, so that it's been through the process. If the clerk could please give, we need to vote to remove it from the table still, correct? We haven't voted that.
Yeah.
Roll call, please.
Brown.
Aye.
Cleary.
Aye.
Hany.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Hawk.
Aye.
Klein.
Aye.
If the clerk could please give ordinance 2382 third reading by title.
Ordinance prohibiting marijuana business grow facilities and dispensaries other than for personal use in R1, R1A, R2, and R3 districts and declaring an emergency. Third reading.
Haney, I saw you first.
Make a motion to adopt ordinance 2382.
Bob,
Second motion to adopt.
any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Brown.
Aye.
Cleary.
Aye.
Hany.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Hawk.
Aye.
Klein.
Aye.
Ordinance 2382 is adopted. Next, we have resolutions, and there are none. Did we want to draft a resolution for our Speaker of the House?
We'll put that together at a later date. That's okay.
Yeah, okay. We'll collaborate on that then.
Yeah.
Next is miscellaneous, and I know Mr. Hawk had something to pass out. He asked me to. Then I got Nate and Chris. I can pass them out.
So, I asked for an opinion request, and this is regarding, it's ordinance 1909, which established a security deposit for the water service. I saw some issues with it, and the Andersons responded that they agree that the ordinance should be reviewed by council and rewritten. There's a couple different things, but I have attached the second little packet down here is just some sample legislation. The first one is Ashland, how they do their security deposits. I know that there's been a discussion before about lowered rates for people on fixed incomes for like a security deposit. And then there has been discussion of whether or not it would just be easier to put it in the property owner's name. So the second page of that second sheet is from the city of Athens, who does do that. So I just figured it would be useful for us to have a conversation about this at some point, because I feel like the good legislation is clear and concise, and this legislation is not.
You think this is something that we should have a PUC meeting around? I think this would probably be a lengthy discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like we should look at it holistically, because I feel like CPI and then also stormwater utility. Yeah.
I don't care at all to call one with, prior to our next meeting.
So we won't call a rec meeting.
And he'll probably have finance, so I'll find a date that works for at least the PUC members, and then we can figure it out from there. Need you, Dr. Chris.
Yeah.
So we'll give a public utilities and make sure you can do that. Okay. I saw Nate and then you.
On your desk, John drafted a description summary for each of the funds in our budget. And it's just kind of help members of council and new members to just kind of be up to par with some of that with our budget. So I'd like to make a motion to make this part of the minutes.
Second.
Moved and seconded by Mr. Haney. Roll call, please.
Brown.
Aye.
Cleary.
Aye.
Hany.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Hawk.
Aye.
Klein.
Aye.
Thank you, Nate and John, for putting that together, and thank you, Nate and John, for the budget workshops. I find them beneficial still, being around as long as I have. It's nice to see that our efforts to be progressive with our budget in the city and plan for inflation and things that we haven't done historically in this body well, that's paying dividends, that we can actually meet the requests of people like our policemen that need vests and our firefighters that need new saws that are broken, and the things that we need that we don't have to penny pinch anymore, and we can actually take care of those things. So I appreciate your effort and your effort, John. Chris?
Are you gonna have, do you need 15 minutes for finance before next meeting?
I will, because I anticipate having the permanent budget, and I'll just need to give a recommendation, and we'll probably have a salary resolution along with that also.
5:45?
5:45 would be good.
You want to go ahead and call those?
Yeah.
Because I think he's
I want to call, I probably need a half hour, maybe, I mean, I could probably use 45 minutes, we can get it done in a half hour. Since Mr. Shaker's here, I'm gonna go ahead and call a Parks and Rec meeting, 5:15, council chambers. What is that, 15th, 2/15/24?
You want next week or?
I'm sorry, 22nd, yeah. 2/22/24, 5:15, council chambers, Parks and Rec regarding possible downtown basketball tournament.
Guess what you say.
Possibly.
Nate.
Let's see.
And I'd like to call a finance committee meeting for February 22nd at 5:45. Actually, I'll just say immediately follow Parks and Rec
I'll
meeting.
try to give you as much time as I can.
Discuss permanent budget and salary resolution.
Any other miscellaneous? Mayor?
Yeah, there's some updates.
Okay.
A couple of the ongoing projects. We started the work on the North Ironton Storm Project, as you might know. They're working on Thomas Street, running the trunk line to the new storm pump station, and they anticipate to be done in that area in the next 4 weeks. Kind of got called to a mini town hall with a certain neighborhood of that region. I won't name whose neighborhood that was today, but a need for ongoing communication was stressed to us, and we came up with the idea of using that text.my.gov service to have its own opt-in line for Ironton storm sewers. That way, as the contractor updates us on progress and where they're going to be in the neighborhood, what to expect for people that live on that street, they'll be able to opt in to just updates for that service. That way, we're not pumping out North Ironton storm projects to the Ironton general public who's not interested in what's going on that street that given day. But for text.my.gov, you text the number 91896, and it's Ironton Sewer, all one word. And if you're interested, anyone else is listening, you type, if you would like to get general updates through text.my.gov, it's Ironton General, all one word. So just no space between the two words. it's kind of I like the idea of doing this, moving forward. So when we have things like paving or whatever projects are going on, we can kind of give people a heads up. Maybe we'll get more subscribers this way, if we're not just putting out when there's a boil water advisory or a trash delay. So
Ironically, I just got one tonight.
Yeah. So on to the next update. Riverfront project, the utility lines are being ran. We've got the water in. They're running the sewer right now for the container project. So they will have the Center Street landing shut down from 6 a.m. to 5 tomorrow to finish up on running the sewer line to that manhole there. So that's in motion. It's looking like I don't know as far as once we get the containers set and everything, but things are moving forward. It looks like we should be open hopefully this spring or summer. I have the cleanup drop-off dates for the rest of the year that will be at the Public Services Department. The former Woolahan building, the first one will be March 18th through the 23rd. June 3rd through the 8th, then October 21st through the 26th. And we're extending those hours from 9 to 5, so folks, there's some more flexibility for them to make it for these.
Do those include a Saturday, or is that Monday through Friday?
I believe it's usually Tuesday through Saturday.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Mayor, could you repeat that one more time?
I knew it was going to happen. March 18th through 23rd, June 3rd through 8th, October 21st through 26th, 9 to 5.
I have to text that to Haney because he always asks that question.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to forward you guys the flyer too that actually is specific to this item. So if you guys are getting questions about this project or anything, I'm going to forward that on. So moving forward, we'll be able to put out updates for these folks. And I guess if they have a hard time with text messaging, they can always call the office too.
Better? Thank you.
All right.
Nate. Rick's. Nate.
I'd like to make a motion to go to executive session, discuss real estate with council, solicitor, mayor, finance director, and Rick Chance. No action followed.
Mr. Hawk.
I'll second that.
Roll call, please. Bob said 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
No.
Brown,
Aye.
Haney, Cleary,
Aye.
Harvey,
Aye.
Hawk,
Aye.
Sean.
Aye.
Thank you all. We are dismissed this evening.